food that we're eating is shocking. We're spraying far too much chemical. They're calling it dead soil. It's been ploughed up and sprayed off so many times. We have to filter our own water. This is all about control. So reasons to live off-grid nowadays. Well, there used to be because you'd want space and to live in a beautiful area and, you know, perhaps grow a bit of veg and that sort of thing. But now, reasons to live off-grid are because it's a necessity to have security in your life, because the government obviously don't work for us. It's obvious by now that they work for someone else. They work for the WEF, and you know, they literally, when you see them over there, these politicians, they're salivating at the thought of working with these corporations and working with Klaus Schwab, and they're completely corrupted. And as Klaus Schwab boasts, they've infiltrated the cabinets.
That we penetrate the cabinets, Merkel, Vladimir Putin, and they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
Mm-hmm. It's blatantly obvious that our governments are corrupted, and they still believe that their vote is going to mean something. But, you know, the fight back is just look after your own space. Look after yourselves, grow your own food, have your own fuel, have your own wood fuel, that is, have your own power and water. It makes it much more difficult for them to control you, and that's what it's about.
We penetrate the cabinets.
The food that we're eating is shocking. We're spraying far too much chemical on our food, and there's glyphosate being sprayed near our food crops as well. And glyphosate is a known carcinogen. It's known to give people cancer, but the scientists have said there's a certain amount you can have, the body can have, and that's okay. There's such a small amount, they're saying. But I disagree. I think that slight amount over 50 years, I'd like to see the proper studies for that, and they've studied it on mice. You know, they said, well, we've given the mice, you know, 100 times what you're getting, and, you know, they seem fine with no ill effects at all. Mice don't live very long though, do they? And I think if it's a known poison, don't use it. You know, maybe we'll start cutting down on people getting cancer. Let's see how that goes. Looking at what's in our food is shocking, and it's certainly got worse. I was looking at ice cream, and most ice cream now they don't actually use cream. So they use a load of ingredients, like 20 ingredients, where it used to be about 3. It would be cream, eggs, and the flavouring of whatever it be. It could be vanilla pods or something in there like that. And now it's like 20 ingredients, and you're just like, Jesus, what a load of crap, what crap. The soil also, you know, when you're growing food around here, they're calling it dead soil really, because it's got no microbial goodness in it. There's hardly any worms in it anymore. It's been ploughed up and sprayed off so many times. This is why they need so much fertiliser, chemical fertiliser on the fields to keep stuff growing. But we just keep on believing people, believing the science. And I'm not saying don't listen to it, don't listen to the scientists, listen to them, but then have your own brain and think, that's not right. And I've also come about with this issue on fluoride as well, that's in the water. Because, you know, Colgate are actually right on their toothpaste, do not ingest. If you feel ill, seek medical advice. It's a toxin. In England and possibly in Wales, they are now putting fluoride in our water. Not in Scotland. Scotland apparently won a case to say, no, we're not going to allow medication to be put in the water, which is good, which is sensible. And they're putting it in the water for our dental health. Well, we should have that choice. They shouldn't just be putting that in our water. If we want to use fluoride toothpaste, it's there. Brush your teeth. It's unnecessary. And I think all these things are contributing to making people sick. And show me the study where they've added up all of those elements. There isn't one. There is not a study where they've gone fluoride, the glyphosate, the other sprays, you know, the plastics, and it's marginal gains. Athletes use marginal gains to win a race. You know, the start off has got to get it just right. Shave a bit off there, shave a bit off there. We're doing the opposite. We're shaving little bits off of our lives because we're putting so much crap that's processed and so much chemical into our bodies all the time, deemed as safe. People battle this, and you get a lot of doctors say it's deemed as safe. Look at the statistics of this and look at the statistics of that. And I look at the statistics of it and I go, that study is crap. And I'm no scientist, but if it's poisonous, don't do it. And they're not so quick to say, you know, say to them, well, why is everyone getting cancer then? Oh, diagnosis has got better. more people are getting it. It's gone up massively. They knew the statistics when I was at school. It was 1 in 10, then it was 1 in 5, then it was 1 in 2, and now I heard a statistic, it's 9 out of 10 of us will get it. Are you really telling me that we've got that good at diagnosing that everyone's getting it? They found that everyone's getting it. I do not believe that. So they could be studying mice that only live a short time, but we could be putting this stuff into our bodies for 50 years, these chemicals and these, you know, nasty things that are in our food and water, and eventually we'll get sick. And whether that's almost like a timed thing that they do, like on a washing machine, where you you get 3 to 5 years out of it, and you have to buy a new one, a built-in breakdown. And this was there was a thing where there's a light bulb somewhere, I think it's in Russia, and it's been like glowing for 120 years, but they'll never want to make that light bulb again because you'll only ever need one. And a bit like your life, they drip feed you all this stuff, little bits in your food. I mean, this is completely conspiratorial, but it seems that way because no one wants to deal with the fact that we keep getting poison in our food. You drip it over 50 years, you just come up to retirement and, oh well, they didn't make it. Government got that money. So as well as having to grow our own food, we have to filter our own water because they're putting fluoride in it. There's also, people are saying, a lot of heavy metals in it and hormones in it that they don't draw out, apparently, in the process of when they deliver that water to you down your tap. So it's your job to try and get those horrible things out of it as well, and grow as much food as you can, and do bottling and canning and that sort of thing. And this is where we personally have struggled. We've been growing so much fruit and veg in the summer, and we eat all that good stuff, and then during the winter we're having to buy bits of organic in, and it's very expensive. So during COVID, the BBC and some other programmes are putting things out on the TV, in the mainstream media, about you can't sort of eat yourself healthy. You can't just have some like lemons or anything like that and try to make yourself better if you get COVID. And I was shocked to see it, and they sort of mocked people because some people have talked about putting like silver in a bottle and stuff like that because it could be antibacterial, antiviral, and drinking that, and they were mocking people for doing this. But the BBC was saying, so yeah, you can't, lemons and that's just not going to work, it's not going to cut it. Basically, that food isn't medicine. And I saw a TikTok doctor the other day, he was on, and he was talking about medicines. Food is not medicine, he said. He was mocking some girl that was eating an onion or something, and I was like, fair enough, maybe that onion isn't particularly medicine. Or it could be. I don't think it's particularly bad for you, it's not so great with me. And you just think, well, isn't food medicine? This guy had all these letters after his name. And I went, well, they use honey in medicine still today. Cancer patients have had surgery, they say you've got to eat a high protein diet now to heal. They reckon staving off getting the flu is good to eat eggs because they've got vitamin D in them, and they know that that's one of the things that's actually good for fighting COVID, if you've got vitamin D. Food does heal people. This is a nonsense, and this is a doctor with all these things after his name telling us that food isn't medicine, and I totally disagree with that. I've had a big problem with heartburn for years and years, really bad acid reflux. In fact, it damaged my teeth really badly, wore them out. Went to the doctors, they said you've got acid reflux, put the camera down, nothing nasty in there, no cancer. I said, what do I do? I said, carry on taking the pills, carry on taking the omeprazole. I didn't, because I don't like taking pills forever, so I lived with the pain for quite a while, and then I realised it was doing my teeth in. And so I took the omeprazole. So I took the omeprazole for about 10 years, and then I started having side effects because you're not supposed to stay on it forever. The idea is get to the root cause of the problem and fix yourself. And all too many doctors do this now. Prescribe, leave you there to take that for the rest of your life, and it's wrong. So there I am. I'm having heart palpitations now because I've been on these pills for so long, and the gut health just isn't good anymore. And also, I was getting a lot of colds. I was like, oh, why am I getting so many colds? Never used to get so much colds. They strip you of certain nutrients. Apparently magnesium is one they strip you of. And then I found a guy on TikTok that had the same problem, that made a herbal tablet that got it passed, and it's made in this country, that kills H. pylori, bacteria in the gut that they didn't even test me for. Or they possibly tested me for it, but they didn't find anything. And this was a herbal thing, and in 2 months I didn't have to take omeprazole anymore. It took herbs and not doctors to get me off of it. I'm not against doctors because they're a tool to use. Getting diagnosis from a doctor of what you might have, listening to what they might prescribe, and it might give you time to find the root cause, to take something else, or to get off of that medication. But if you just keep listening to the doctors, you could be on medication forever. You could just stay on medication, and actually with all the side effects over time, it could actually shorten your life. You know, I'm not a doctor, but I am someone with, likes to think I've got quite a lot of common sense, and I know it wasn't a doctor that healed me, it was a freaking guy on TikTok. And then the next thing is the wood fuel, to have security, as in keeping warm, and you know, but not being reliant on gas and electric from these companies, because the prices can fluctuate massively. There can be a disaster somewhere that can be deliberate or an accident and cause chaos, and your supply line gets stopped, and then you're sitting at home cold, and then you're stuffed. Whereas if you've got a wood burner, you can cook on it, you can heat your home with it, and you've got some security there. But they're wanting to take that away from you. They're wanting to stop wood burners because they're polluting, and which is a joke. It's called carbon cycle. If it's come from a sustainable source of wood where it's being coppiced, it's growing back, like we've got here, we've got coppice trees, you cut them down, chop them up, put them in your wood burner, the trees grow back. 5 years time, you do it again, and you can do it again and again, and you do it in sections all around your land. And this is the thing of being off-grid, having that space to do it. Sustainable wood cutting, but they're not talking about that because they don't want you having that, oh, just pick some sticks up and burn them mentality to be able to keep your own home and have security. It's all about control. It's absolute nonsense, the CO2 element. Yes, there's pollutants in the air coming from cars, obviously the tyres are shredding little bits there, it's going somewhere into the atmosphere, no doubt giving us cancer. But this CO2 thing is nonsense. Trees need it to grow. So a volcano goes off, millions of tonnes of CO2 goes up in the air. 10 years worth potentially could go up in the air in days. The trees have got to be there to clear it up. So I believe in protecting the rainforest, protecting the forests, growing, you know, responsibly, growing trees and cutting them down and rejuvenating forests and that sort of thing. That's the way it should be done. All this can't burn wood anymore. That's nonsense. These guys are getting on private jets. 2,000 private jets went to Davos to have a discussion on it, right? This is all about control. So the elite managed to overcomplicate basically the carbon cycle, and they've done that by getting scientists to probably be on the payroll to agree. 98% of scientists agree when funded, and then they all come to agreement, they get their payout, they get to take away our wood burners and leave us victims of being cold, and then if you're against the wall like that, so you've got no heating and everything, they might say you need to go to war with them, they've turned off the tap, and you can't run a wood burner because you're not allowed to. And it could just, you know, it just makes you more easy to manipulate. The less you have, the less you've got, the less food and resources that you have behind you to say, I'm going to sit back here and wait how this pans out, because I don't think we're in the right. If you've got nothing to your name, they'll just go, yeah, you're not going to actually have anything unless you get on with what we're saying. We're going to just, you know, you're just going to be a hungry person, you're just going to be hungry and thirsty and miserable. It makes you much more easy to manipulate if you've got nothing. So you've got to do it properly. You've got to be off-grid properly. You've got to have your water, you've got to have your electricity, you've got to have the food and your fuel for burning wood. And there's some people that are on YouTube, I've noticed, that are saying they're off-grid, and they completely aren't. They're on the mains water, they're on power line electric going through there, and because it's like a fashion statement, it's become to say they're off-grid, and it draws people in. But obviously people that are off-grid can see it straight away. They go, well, there's a power line there, and where are you getting all that water from? And you're not showing us any filtration, you're not showing us any water, so yeah, you're not, are you? It leaves a misleading thing for people that have seen it. They go, oh, do you know what, just get one of them power packs, a little one, and I'll just last all year on that, and you know, when it's grey I'll still have loads of power, because they have on their YouTube, they've still got loads of power, and they're just using, you know, they're not actually you know, they're doing all that on that little power pack. It's bollocks. They identify as off-grid, as so many people do. I'm going to identify as a toaster next week, but they're not. They're clearly not off-grid. Don't bluff being off-grid, actually be off-grid to be secure. So rebellion hasn't got to look like this. It can look like this. For now anyway.